right. How's everybody doing today? You ready to go here? What is going on with this page? I'm seeing all these flashing lights. It's like I'm in a Kanye West video.
It's promo time.
Oh, boy.
The weekend's here. Get your 60 promos in. All right. We got a boost in this. We got 12 boosts in this sport, 12 boosts in that sport.
That's crazy right now. All right. Let's see what we have. I gotta see if I can move this down to the bottom. We're gonna have Joe Wiz joining us again later. He's all excited to come on and talk about football. He's all mad at Amedeus for his care bag pick.
Man, yesterday I had like one of my worst days in a long time. Like it's actually disappointing how bad yesterday was for me. I haven't had a day like that in a while.
Yeah, Arsenal only won 1-0, just about won. Larnaca red card. I liked Ren a little bit. Real Betis was leading and then blew it. The Braga USG game was crazy. Union Berlin again with a slim win. Manchester United. The less I talk about that game, the better. Absolute joke. I actually felt bad for Nicosia after the game, especially the keeper. The guy's like, I don't know if you saw this. The guy's like a massive Manchester United fan growing up in Nigeria. He's a big-time keeper. Apparently plays for the national team. This dude played like the game of his life, and then they gave up a crappy goal in like the 92nd minute there, 93rd minute to win. I mean, I'm glad we won, but I felt a little bad. The traveling fans were great. It was a terrible. Manchester United. Rashford just scored 5 goals himself. Freiburg, what can I say? I just think this. Freiburg plays Bayern Munich this weekend. I just did a story for NJ.com about the games this weekend because everybody's talking about the Classico. Well, Freiburg's playing Bayern Munich with a chance really to make a statement here. I mean, Freiburg's ahead of them in the table, and they really did make a statement. Ferencváros one big win. Trabzonspor embarrassed Monaco. Fiorentina beat Hearts. Silkeborg beat that FCSB team again. West Ham just about won, although the last goal came in the 89th minute. So interesting day, and today is another day. And Euro games let me down with red cards. Lazio and Nice 0 discipline. Mexico and Colombia games saved my day. If I was you, Foxy, I would just spend these games in South America, man. Central, you're so good at those games.
Yeah, I feel you, Foxy. It was not a good day at all yesterday. Just absolutely ridiculous.
And my favorite bet of the day yesterday was the under in that terrible NFL game. These Thursday night games, I mean, Amazon right now, Amazon must be losing viewers by the minute putting these games on. I mean, I don't even know. I'm going to look and see. I don't even know what the game is next week.
Are they allowed to have touchdowns on Thursday night football, or did they work something into the CBA?
And that was embarrassing. Next week is New Orleans, Arizona. So
my team.
Yeah.
Another barn burner.
Not terrible. I mean, not the worst game. But then Monday night next week is Chicago and New England. That game's terrible.
Why would you have Chicago back-to-back primetime games?
I just don't understand.
Someone was talking to the MLS.
The Sunday night game is Pittsburgh, Miami. That game is atrocious. Miami's they would be good, but it's just embarrassing, man. I wrote something about the MLS schedule. If you look at the MLS schedule tomorrow or this weekend, for the playoffs, I mean it's interesting, but then I'll click on that one. The games this week are good. Saturday spread out 12-3, Sunday 3-8, Monday they'd have the times now. But then next week they play Thursday 2 games and Sunday 2 games. Like, why wouldn't you just play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
They play on the 2 NFL days.
I know. I don't understand. I don't understand what they're doing.
That's the MLS, man. Just gotta accept it at this point.
Yeah, like the Union are playing at 8:00 at home. LAFC's playing at 10:00 on Thursday. I think that's pretty smart. But then, not again until Sunday, 1 and 8. I don't know. And then the conference finals on Sunday. I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. Like, if you're going to watch that game, you're going to watch it. So, like, whatever. It doesn't matter. I think Saturday, Sundays, college football, NFL, whatever it is, like, you're still, it's still going to be tough. But I don't know. It is what it is. Did you so Joe Wiz will come on and, talk a little football. I don't know. He's going to, it's football for 15 minutes, I guess. I don't know what he wants to talk about, but, there's a lot of so we'll get through some of these games today and tomorrow and Sunday in football. Interesting, this game today, Vallecano and Getafe and Brentford, Brighton. Where is Getafe? Still in 16th. Not the greatest game ever today, but this Brentford-Brighton game I think is a little bit interesting. When I looked at it, Brighton's pretty good. And either you kind of believe that this team is going to keep playing this way, or maybe you think they're going to come back. And I don't think Brentford has been great. So, I don't know much about this Brentford Brighton game. Any thought about this?
Yeah, definitely some conflicting trends here because every single one of Brentford's home games have gone over 2.5 this year. And most of Brighton's away matches have gone over 2.5. But it really worries me because Brentford hasn't scored a goal in their last 3 matches now. And we know this Brighton team is really good. They have a good defense and they can score goals. So I don't know. I think maybe the best bet here is just to go take the shot with Brighton at the plus 130. There you're getting a pretty good team on the road against a team that hasn't scored in 3 games.
Yeah, that's my thoughts. Pull this table up. I just think you either have to say, and Brentford played well last week against Tottenham in that 1-0 loss. I mean, I just think you have to say, listen, this team, and they're still a game behind some of these other teams. So, with a win here, they'd be even on games with Tottenham, and they'd be in the top 4. So, Brentford, I think, is what they are. They're 2-4-3. I think they're going to be one of these teams that's going to struggle to hold on one second. I think they're going to struggle maybe to stay in the league. Maybe finish 15, 16, something like that. But if you think this Brighton team is pretty good, I don't know. I mean, I think this game is pretty good odds for you. Brighton here. Brighton's got a good team. I like them. So I'm going to take a chance at plus 130. These other games today.
See, I don't know if Brentford's going to finish like bottom of the table just because they score goals, but
I think it's 13th, 14th. They're like around where, they're somewhere in the top part of the bottom half.
Yeah, if there was a top 4 for the bottom 10 teams.
11th to 15th, something like that. I don't think they're necessarily going to be in danger of going down because there's worse teams than them.
Yeah.
Offensively and stuff. But
they're in a drought right now, but it'll end eventually. I don't trust them today because they haven't scored in 3 games, but they're a team that, when they're at home, they score like 2-3 goals a game. So they'll get right somewhere down the line against these bad teams.
Hoffenheim against I can't. I don't really love the.
I don't even want to touch the Bundesliga, man.
Yeah. It's this Hoffenheim should win this game. I mean,
Schalke's so bad.
Yeah, they're better. I mean, it's even money. I would probably take them, but once again, I'm not trying to tell you to take these crazy games. For every number we look at, Hoffenheim should win this game pretty easily. But Hoffenheim's playing pretty well right now in the league. With a win, they'd go up to third ahead of Bayern Munich. So they're right in the mix here. I mean, but
how close the table is, they shoot up 4 slots.
So from 12th to 3rd to 12th, they're separated by 4 points. The whole league is terrible.
Wow,
nobody's any good. But
Bayern's in that mix too, which just speaks volumes for the way they've performed.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not my favorite game of the day. Strasbourg and Lille, same thing. I think Lille's been playing well. Strasbourg was very good last year, but they only have one win this year. I'd stay away from that game.
Yeah, this line has moved a lot too. It was like plus 160. It was pretty much like even either way, and now you're getting the plus 200 for Strasbourg and plus 130 for Lille. Lille has a good team, but they haven't been performing this year. I don't know what it is. They have goal scorers. I guess it's their defense. They lost a few key pieces in the transfer window. Celik was a big loss for them. So I don't know. This team is what they are. Like they'll play well at home, but can you trust them on the road in this spot, even as bad as Strasbourg has been? I don't know.
I've been We'll talk to Wiz about the football a little bit. I mean, I'm just a big proponent because I know he likes this NCAA game tonight.
I prepared some questions for him this time. You caught me off guard last time. I hadn't even looked at the games yet. I was like, I can't.
You know what? The other night he wasn't he called me. He had a flat tire the other day. Don't like Bundesliga, but every Schalke home game is going over 3.5 goals, which is interesting with both teams scoring. There you go. His car got a flat tire, and he was calling me about that, and I said, "Listen, we're taping the show. If you want to come on." I didn't know what he was calling me about, and he's like, "Yeah, sure." And so he just jumped on the call and just started speed talking. But so sometimes he likes to, if he's there, he'll jump on. So I think Fridays we'll have him on just to talk some of these football games. But I know he definitely likes one of the football games tonight, one of the college games specifically. We're back to the regular schedule here, 7:30. Maybe I'll get a chance to watch a game in the morning, although it's Leicester City Crystal Palace, so maybe I'll just stay asleep. These games Saturday, just go through some of these games, these leagues, because there's some big games. Leicester Crystal Palace. I mean, both these teams stink. Crystal Palace is supposed I think they could be good. I think Crystal Palace has enough talent to finish top 10, but I just don't know. I just don't know. I don't trust them sometimes in these games, but this Leicester team stinks.
I agree with you with the Crystal Palace. They're probably better than what they are.
Yeah, I think they got they do have some attacking talent, and they play. Vieira will get them moving. I just think they'll be all right. They just have to they had a pretty tough schedule.
Hey, with this defense, they might get 3 points here.
Oh, it's crazy. Fulham's playing Bournemouth. I don't know if Fulham should be minus 120 against anybody in this league. I guess Fulham is top tier team, but they're ninth and have a minus. The crazy thing is Bournemouth is 8th in the table right now with a minus 12 goal difference. That is so crazy.
They're not that bad. They got smashed by 3 top teams in the league.
And Liverpool is 10th with a +8 goal difference. So Manchester United is 5th with a -2 goal difference. It's so embarrassing.
And
I like that
City
extra
plus
game.
24.
Foxy says he likes that game. He likes it.
And he's loving James Madison every week. James Madison.
Foxy, I'm gonna give you Foxy my watch along, man. My United's favorite over Newcastle. How about that? Wow. Wolves, Nottingham Forest. They're talking about maybe Nuno might return to Wolves after he left to go to Tottenham, and then kind of failed there. So maybe that would be good. I mean, it's terrible for the rest of the league, and terrible for over bettors as Nuno Espirito Terrorball returns to the Premier League. Wolves once again minus 143 over Nottingham Forest. I know Nottingham Forest is bad. I don't think Wolves should be favored. They have 3 goals. Wolves have scored 3 goals this season. Is that right? That can't be right.
No, that's right. That's right.
How is that right? Wolves have scored 3 goals this season.
Every game's 0-0, 1-0.
How are they favored at minus 143 in this game? I just...
You know what's even crazier? The under 2.5, their last 3 straight games has been like minus 125, and it is again in this one. You got a Nottingham team that doesn't score goals, and you got a Wolverhampton team that just doesn't score or allow goals.
That's the crazy thing. I mean, 1-0 Nottingham Forest is 10 plus 1,000. 1-0 Nottingham Forest is plus 1,050. That is absolutely crazy to me. 0-0 is 850. Nottingham Forest or draw is plus 120. Like, they've scored 3 goals all year. Not for Nottingham Forest to score. They don't give up a lot of goals. They've only given up 7 goals all year. Like, Wolves have given up some goals. I mean, they've given up 12 goals. I mean, I don't know. The under looks like crazy value to me, and probably be 7-5. But one of these games, I don't know if you need to bet that game. Tottenham at minus 220 against Everton. I think Everton's played better in these games. They're up the table now. Minus 220 seems like a lot. He took Wolves to the Prem. Yeah, look, Foxy, I'm not going to say anything about they're brutal to play against. It seems like that's something that they need right now. Not that they're brutal to play against, but
they're brutal to watch.
They're brutal to watch. That is correct. Yes. All right. I don't know, but these I think the Sunday games for the Premier League to me look like they're pretty decent. Villa, Chelsea at minus 129. I think this Villa team stinks.
And Chelsea's, they've had like a little resurgence now with their new manager. It's tough. It's tough to go against them. I know my AC Milan took a lot of red cards against them, but still, like Chelsea, they're playing well. Got to give them that.
Yeah, definitely. I think let me turn these notifications off. I don't get 50 things. It's not going dinging every 5 seconds. Minus 129. I don't know how long Steven Gerrard is for this job here. I think he's going to be, I would think, I want to take a look at Aston Villa's schedule here. If you can find a market for this fixtures. So they still have to play. They're playing Chelsea. They play Fulham away, Brentford, Newcastle, United, Brighton before the World Cup. I think there's a possibility they don't pick up a lot of points in those games. I think if they are sitting, maybe they get something from this. Maybe they get something from this. They're not. I don't think they beat Newcastle. I don't think they beat United. I don't think they beat Brighton. If they are sitting, right now they're 16th. If they're here, if they're not here and they're here by the time the World Cup goes, he goes. I think they give him to the World Cup. But then that 4-week break, he's out. And then somebody goes in. I think if you could find, he's probably because the Nottingham Forest guy isn't going. He just signed a big contract. The Wolves already fired their guy. Hasenhüttl, if he didn't go when they lost 9-0 a couple of times, like I don't know that he's going to go now. I think he's actually a pretty good coach, and they don't spend any money, so like I can't he's doing actually a pretty good job with that team. Vieira's doing a pretty good job. Jesse Marsch just got there. David Moyes is going up the table. Frank Lampard's going up the table. The Brentford guy's safe. Klopp, Fulham guys in the thing. Bournemouth already changed their coach. He's probably, unless it's either Brendan Rodgers, who I don't think they want to sack because they have to pay him, or Steven Gerrard that goes next. So if you can find a market where you can bet the next manager to be sacked, I would be all over Steven Gerrard.
I'm sure you can. You can bet on who Giselle's next boyfriend is going to be, so you should be able to bet on this.
Am I in there? They have Ralph Hasenhüttl at plus 200, just ahead of Steven Gerrard and just ahead of Brendan Rodgers and Jurgen Klopp fourth. So that's
they got Klopp in there. Wow.
I think he could walk. I think he walks in the next year.
Yeah, I told you. I think his time is coming to an end there. They're unraveling much too quickly this season.
Joe Wiz asking for soccer winners. I said, yeah, Amedeus said he'll tell you. Who do we like today? Brighton, right?
Brighton, I guess. Yeah, it's a slim board today.
And what was the other one?
Was there another one?
Didn't we like
Hoffenheim, maybe?
Yeah, Hoffenheim total, maybe. Gruther Fruth. No, Westerlo. Premier League. 3:00. What time's the Hoffenheim game?
2:45, I think. 2:30. 2:30. Don't they normally play at 2:30?
Yeah.
The German league's always at like 2:30, and then the rest go at 3.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, they're at 2:30, and the rest are at 3:00 today.
It's always, I always like that. I mean, it would be smart if they went at 2:15 because then they could, you could watch the whole first half of that before you switched out. Oh, Tranmere Rovers against Crewe Alexandria, big game for my guy Jamie over there in England. Ready to go. But yeah, so if you can find that. If you can find that market, relegation, general team markets, sometimes you can find that best finishing position, Chelsea or Manchester United, Arsenal, Tottenham. That's Arsenal, 100%. I think relegation markets.
I noticed with the Premier League and like a few other leagues, they started to offer, or maybe they've always offered it and I've never seen it, but I just noticed now that you can bet some of these leagues without who's going to win the Premier League without Manchester City, who's going to win the Spanish league without Real Madrid and Barcelona was one option. Who's going to win the German league without Bayern, like minus Bayern Munich? Like it's interesting because they know nobody's betting on these futures when these leagues are dominated by these powerhouse teams.
If Manchester City loses this weekend or drops points and Arsenal beats Leeds, Arsenal will be 3 or 4 points ahead. And look at the odds to finish first in the thing. Manchester City minus 455. It's ridiculous. You're better off. To be honest with you, you're better off putting a couple bucks on Arsenal and saying, take a chance. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe they do. So, I mean, I don't think they will, but,
you never know.
Or something like that at some point. I mean, these teams, Liverpool's still fourth. There's no way. They're not finishing. Liverpool is not finishing in the top 4 this year. 100%. We've said this 100 times on this show already. Both of us have said it. They're not finishing. I think they have a better chance to finish outside of Europe than they do to finish in the top 4.
Yeah, we said this wasn't a true contender to win the title this year. And like so far, we're spot on about that because we got 2 real contenders dominating the league right now. And it's going to be tight all year, I think.
These 3 teams right here, Arsenal, Manchester City, and Tottenham are going to be, 1, 2, 3 in some order, I think. Tottenham, I don't know, maybe they fall off or something like that. I don't think they will as much. And then after that, Chelsea, Manchester City, Newcastle, because, Newcastle, people will say, Newcastle, they're still not on that level. Listen, they're going to spend crazy money. I wouldn't be stunned if Kylian Mbappe was there. They'll pay whatever for him. The Saudis will, to take away from the Qataris, they'll, they're going to try to buy him and make a splash. I mean, they'll pay him whatever he wants. So, it is what it is. 11. Joe Wiz will be on at 11:45, so 15 minutes. But yeah, I just don't think they're finishing. Look, they'll finish ahead of Fulham and Bournemouth. Probably Brighton. Maybe they finish 7th. I just don't think they're that good. I think there's, I don't know how much they're not going to spend. They just spent like crazy on Darwin Núñez. He's a bum. Like they spend all this money. They're not spending more. They're not spending $150 million in the wintertime. There's no way. These other teams will. Manchester City might. Tottenham probably not. Chelsea's going to spend. Manchester United's going to spend. Newcastle's going to spend. These teams I think see now, United, if United could win this weekend against Newcastle here, which I don't know that they will, but if they could win here and get to 18 points and just get in the mix for, here top 4, if they could get to, if they're around the top 4 by the time Isaac is back for us this weekend, close to full strength, 100%, and we're not. If these teams start to pull away, if Newcastle, United, Manchester United, and Chelsea have a little bit pull away from these teams, you're going to see them spend. Chelsea's going to spend with a new guy. Newcastle's going to spend. I hope United brings in like Mbappe and Gakpo and whoever else, and a goalkeeper, the guy from Porto, Diogo Costa, and all these people. And it's going to make it interesting. The top 4 race. Top 4 odds here. You see, top 4, Liverpool is still minus 118, which is absolutely crazy to me. Tottenham is minus 134, which looks like a lock to me. But you're getting. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand why Liverpool is minus 118. They're not going to finish top 4.
Yeah. So hold on. Can I see that again?
Mm-hmm.
How does this make sense? So Man City, you can't even bet to make the top 4 because, they know they're probably going to win the league. Yep. Now you have Arsenal as a minus to make the top 4, Chelsea as a minus to make the top 4, Liverpool as a minus, and Tottenham as a minus. So 5 teams are making the top 4.
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't make sense, right?
Like, where's something's off there? I notice how the Liverpool, they have it slotted above Tottenham, but it's less juice because they know this thing. They'll be lucky if Liverpool makes a comeback. So.
They think people are gonna. I think they think people are gonna bet Liverpool. Here in top 6 here, Liverpool's minus 835 to make top 6. That's not a good bet to me. Like,
that looks like bait.
They're not. I mean, I don't know who would ever bet that, but like Manchester United's only minus 305 to make top 6. Like, I just don't. Manchester United to me, Newcastle's top is plus 200. They're still plus 200 to make top 6. That's a great bet. They're going to finish 6th or 5th. I think. I don't think they finish in the top 4. I think Newcastle finishes top 6, 100%, and I think they're going to make Europe. And once they make Europe. And they start spending money, and they're able to bring whatever, they're going to be able to bring more money in and more players in this team. Then all of a sudden, the assault for top 4 goes. Then the assault for the top of the league goes. And then, within 5 years, Newcastle will be winning titles, I think. I mean, it's not going to be long, but
it's all about the money. That's all it is.
Yep.
Man City can buy titles. Anybody can.
So, Leeds Arsenal. Arsenal minus 195 in that game. I think it's a little bit of a trap game for him, but I think Leeds maybe plays the way Arsenal wants him to play. So I think that could be interesting. Full time, Arsenal 1.5 goals. Yeah, you got to go plus over 2.5. Arsenal halftime, full time plus 123. That might be a decent play. Arsenal -1 is -113. I don't know. Do you think Arsenal could struggle in that game?
I don't know if they're going to struggle. I don't know if they win by more than 1 goal, though, just because when they play on the road, they seem to be that kind of team. They do just enough to win the match and nothing really more. Like, they're not looking to blow teams out 3-0. And, Leeds can be a tricky team at home. They score a lot of goals there. And as you can see, the over 2.5 is a little bit juiced. And that would have been the way I would have looked at that one. So, yeah, not really finding too much value in this Arsenal match.
What about this Manchester United Newcastle game?
It's tough. I can't trust your team. I just every time I want to take a chance on them, they let me down. They're at home here, but it's
Casemiro's been a beast. I think they're not settled at. I think they're not settled at fullback, outside back, whatever you want to call it. I think their midfield is okay. Casemiro was a beast yesterday. He should have had 2 goals. He's growing into it. He's going to be a monster for them this year. Newcastle draw is interesting. I mean, if I take my fandom out of it, Newcastle draw is a pretty good price. Newcastle has a lot of draws this year. They have, they've won or drawn 8 of their 9 games. So I think that's a decent price there. I mean, that's probably the way I would go. Brazilian midfield versus Brazilian midfield. Casemiro and Fred. Fred will not be playing in this game, Foxy. If he is, I'm turning the TV off. I like Guimaraes a lot. I like Joe Linton. Casemiro is a monster, and he's going to just get better and better and better as the year goes. I mean, he didn't play a lot early, and people were like, Casemiro's a bust. And then he was like, played the one game, and he gave 1 ball away, and they scored. Yesterday, he was absolutely a monster. They played Nicosia. You got to take the thing. He was very good at the weekend as well. He's getting better and better. He's going to grow into it. He's going to be really, really, really good for Manchester United for the next couple of years, especially if you put better players around him, which I think they're starting to do. They're close. I think this is going to be a good game. So I'll be watching it here. My friend Juancho is here from Madrid, so we will be watching that game. We have a bunch of people over to watch it. But if I was a neutral, I'd probably say, draw and Newcastle. I don't care about the Southampton West Ham game at all. I would say West Ham is a decent play at plus 145, but they did just play midweek, so I think that's why maybe the odds are a little bit weird. Any interest in that game, or just looking at this new Liverpool?
Actually, I'm curious of one thing in that game. Who did West Ham play yesterday? I just have to check that quickly.
Oh, they beat.
No. Like I know they beat Anderlecht, but who did they play in the match? Because they rested a bunch of people the last time they played Anderlecht.
Sufal, Ben Johnson, Agbana, Creswell, Emerson, Flynn Dones, Lantine, Eda Bowen, and Ben Rama. So
looks like they played nobody.
And they won too. That's the thing. Yeah.
And now they're gonna have their guys like Declan Rice.
Skamaka came in 63rd minute. Suchek came in the 75 minute, and they didn't even have to play. What's his name? The kid up top. Not the kid. I'm blanking on his name. The striker that scores all the goals. So like most of the guys, that's gonna drive me nuts that I can't remember this guy's name. Man,
Yeah, I thought Skamaka was the one who scored all their goals.
No, Antonio, Mikel
Oh
Antonio.
yeah, Michael Antonio. Yeah.
Well, he didn't play. So yeah, look, I mean, I don't know. Now that I see that, I like West Ham here.
Yeah, 100%.
I think a little bit of this line is because they played, but that most of these guys didn't play. So
And they didn't travel; they were at home for that match too.
The game was at home, yeah. So I do like that game. And then
nice line. They've been playing better in the league lately. I think they've won like the last 4 straight overall now too across all competitions. So they know they had a bad start to the year and they need to start, clawing their way back in the Premier League because they're sitting in they're bad right now. Are they in the bottom 10? Yeah, look at that. They're sitting
but they were, they're probably, if they win this game, they're ahead of Bournemouth. So they'll be once. I think they're a team that'll be in the mix with Liverpool for the top.
Yeah, and clearly that's why they've been resting players because they know we're in 13th. We need to start moving. We got 5 losses in the Premier League.
And they should try to win that Conference League because then they get into Europa, but they should also, I think they could win that pretty, I think they could kind of get through their group. I think they're pretty much through now.
Yeah, I think they're 4 points clear. Or sorry, they're 4-0. I meant they're 6 points clear of Silkeborg, so they're good.
Yeah. So they're already through because Anderlecht. So they're already through. They're into the next stage, and they play Silkeborg at home next time, so that's not a big deal, And then they go to Romania, so nobody will go to that game, and they'll probably still win. But this, they'll probably play whoever against Silkeborg, but in the league, in the next, so they got that game, Southampton, and then they got Liverpool, which is big. Then they play Bournemouth and United and Crystal Palace and Leicester before they go on break. So some games they could win, some games they could lose, but a definite chance. Wow, if they beat Liverpool all of a sudden, you got to think. Maybe they're favorites to stay ahead of Liverpool here. So
they could, man. I don't trust this Liverpool team as far as I can throw them.
That's right. Yeah. Liverpool, Manchester City. You're not getting Manchester City. Talked about this on ESPN. We're not getting Manchester City again at this price in the league. Probably against anybody, maybe except for Arsenal. And Liverpool's not Arsenal, minus 120. I know it's at Liverpool. Manchester City played a day earlier. Liverpool had the easy game. They scored all the goals, but they still played a day later. Can you make any case for Liverpool here, or Liverpool and draw, which is even money?
Absolutely not. As you said, you're never going to get this price on Manchester City. Even if Liverpool was playing well, I would say it's a total value play on Man City. I was actually going to grab my hammer and put it in the camera, it's too far away right now. But yeah, you got to hammer Man City, man. Liverpool has been awful. I don't care. They beat the Rangers 7-1. They were losing 1-0, and they scored a lot of those goals in the last 30 minutes. Like for a while there, it looked like they were going to struggle with the Rangers. They struggled to beat them at home 2-0. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that City sees the way they're performing and says, let's just beat up on them, and we don't even have to worry about them chasing us for the title this year. We got to worry about a different team now.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think they win. I think they get them out of the.
And City just tied 0-0 in Denmark against Copenhagen. Like, you're telling me that they took that draw because they were like, we'll try in this game, and then we know we got Liverpool coming up, but we'll take the draw here, and then maybe we won't play against Liverpool. No, they took that draw and they played nobody in that match because they knew. We locked the group up. Let's kick Liverpool's ass.
100%. Just quickly before the Nobody Beats the Wiz comes on, any You know, Freiburg is plus 950 in that game.
You got to take them. Take them plus one.
Freiburg and draw is plus 300.
Take a plus 1.5.
Freiburg plus 1.5 is plus 116. I think maybe you have to. Sometimes they make an example of teams trying to jump up. I just don't know how good they are. League One. Where's the League One? League One is you got the. I don't know why they only have just the futures. I'm not even going to bother talking about it if they keep doing this. So there's just the futures. I don't even know. There's PSG plays Monaco, but I'm going to probably stay away from that. Sunday, Real Madrid is plus 125 at home against Barcelona, who now
is embarrassing.
Well, more than that, I mean, they're like teetering on the precipice of financial ruin at this point. They spent all this money, and now they're not going to have Champions League money, which is an absolute disaster. Sponsors give less money. They're not in the Champions League, all this stuff, the TV money, everything, blah, 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 blah. And they got to play Real Madrid here. And, Real, they're even on points, 22. Real Madrid drew. They had a day of extra of rest. Any thoughts on this game before we move to NFL here?
Yeah, Real Madrid's going to win it. There's no doubt. They didn't play a lot of people in Shakhtar. Almost tied, almost lost that game, but didn't they? I think they pulled off. What was it? A tie with. Yeah,
they scored in like the 90 plus 5 minutes. Yeah, Rudiger probably not going to play.
Did you hear what Rudiger said a few weeks ago? No. I meant to bring it up, but Rudiger admitted when he was on Chelsea, he was purposefully making mistakes on defense.
Really?
Yeah. He actually admitted this a few weeks ago, how he was making mistakes on defense because it was something like he didn't want to be there or didn't like the direction the team was going in, or maybe something with the fans. But yeah, he literally said he was deliberately making mistakes in some of their games on defense. Wow. So Rudiger is not a player I have a lot of respect for anymore after saying that.
I'll respect him for trying to tank Chelsea, but yeah.
Well, I don't think, honestly, I don't have respect for any player that wants to tank any team you're on. Like, even if you want out, like, what is this? The NBA? Yeah. We're gonna pull an Mbappe now and just try to like cry our way out of PSG. Stop it. Told Real Madrid no. Suck it up and play for your team.
Gave you $300 million, man. You know what? Like, you took the money. You could have went to Madrid and been a legend. You took the money, and now you're mad because they don't have any money.
Because he wants to play as a number 9. That's why he's mad. He keeps getting forced to play on his opposite wing, I guess.
I don't understand. Who's playing the 9 for them?
I think is it Neymar? I read something about like he's not happy that he's getting forced to play.
He's not playing the 9 for freaking Real Madrid. I almost cursed for freaking Real Madrid there. Benzema. They got Benzema there. They got I don't understand. What is going on? He's not playing the number 9. Freiburg got tempting, but I think I just go both teams to score has been the case in the last 8 games between them and Bayern. Yeah, look.
I think that's been the case in all the Bundesliga games.
Yeah, both teams to score is minus 152. That's actually decent odds. Foxy, the only thing I don't like about that game is sometimes when Bayern Munich has a chance to every time, sometimes, Dortmund will 3-3, in the game. But then in the second half of the year, somebody will step up like Leipzig or a new team will step up. Or whatever, and then the first chance they get it's like territorial, like how the dogs pee on the trees and stuff. They smack them down, then they just go out there and just embarrass this team,
Are you saying Bayern likes to pee on the Bundesliga?
Yes, exactly. 10 straight titles. So, I think sometimes that happens. I think this Freiburg team is pretty good, though. But obviously they played midweek. So we'll see if a team like that has the depth to match up against a team like Bayern Munich here. Waiting for Joe Wiz here to step in. I don't know where he's at. Give him a wrong link, he said.
Love that.
It's actually not, but hold on. Invite. Invite. Here we go. StreamYard, edit, copy. I gotta do this. I gotta do this whole thing, man. I gotta go on to thing. See if that works. He said it's the wrong link. Oh, I think it's the right link. Let's see if he gets on here. Yeah, so just quickly, Bayern Munich. I don't know. I mean, -1.5 is minus 137. So I just either think they win the game easily. I don't think it's going to be a 1-goal win. They win the game easily or do that, but we'll see. Hopefully he pops up here soon, because I don't want to be on until 12:45. He says he doesn't know how to register. See if that works. Just has to click on the link. It's either a 4-1 Bayern win type of game or a Freiburg draw. Yeah, look, that's 100% what I think, Foxy, as well. I think, that's, I think they clear the 1.5 or they don't win the game. I don't think it's a 1-goal win. I think it's either they kind of dominate them. I'm a little bit nervous about Freiburg playing in the midweek, obviously, with a big win. And I don't know how strong of a lineup they put out, but we'll see. I think it's an interesting game, though. There's a lot of interesting games on Sunday. There's Joe Wiz. Device is coming on now. Just connect your microphone. We'll see. Let's see if he's got cards. There he is. Joe Amedeus has some questions for you today.
Yeah, I hope they're not soccer questions. I'm ready for some real football. No, I'm only kidding.
Oh yeah, I got a bunch of football questions for you. I'm interested to hear your opinion on.
Hey Joe, I want they're starting with this game. I know we talked about this a little bit. This game tonight, the Navy SMU game. SMU's given 12.5 points here. I seems like a lot to me, but I don't know. What your thoughts are there.
My thoughts is to take the dog here. I don't trust SMU as a double-digit favorite. Navy has the triple bone offense, and SMU has a tough time defending it. SMU got lit up when they played at Central Florida last time, and I think Navy will hang with them. Plus the 12.5, I think, is a generous spread.
Yeah, I mean, I think so as well. There's really just the other game tonight. UTSA is -33. I don't know about that, but Amadeus, you got a couple of questions here, I think, right?
Yeah. For the Saturday games, nothing really too much tonight. These games are kind of yucky. But I'm curious to see what are your thoughts on the Memphis East Carolina. East Carolina is a 5.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I have a terrible connection. I could barely hear you guys, but I'll try and do my best to hear.
What's your thoughts on Memphis and what was it, East Carolina, Memphis?
Yeah, Memphis, East Carolina.
Memphis, you said East Carolina?
Yeah.
Yep.
1 second here. I can barely hear you guys. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me, but I'll be happy to go over a couple of games here. Assuming you guys can hear me. Obviously, the premier games on the board, and then I'll try and if I can hear you, I'll go to them. But the premier games on the board are the Penn State Michigan game at the Big House. That game was at noontime. I mean, everybody wants to talk about that game. Penn State's 5-0. Michigan is 6-0. Michigan really hasn't been tested, So I'm kind of curious to see what happens here. And pay attention to the total here. Every game that Michigan has played has gone under this year. Every game, 5-1. And you got two top defenses here. I think the total's rather high with this Penn State Michigan game here. I would be inclined to play the under. Last time they met, last two times both games went under, 21-17 back in 21 and 2020, 27-17. But I would think that Penn State's a live dog there as well. Plus the 7-0. Sean and you and I had talked about that on our ESPN show. So I'm excited to. I'd love to be at the Big House. I've never been there before.
Wow. Yeah. I think that's an interesting game.
I can hear you better now, for sure.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Amadeus.
Yeah. That's no, I definitely like that. I gave out the under on Total Chaos last night, so I'm definitely on the same page with you for that one. I was just curious if you had thoughts on the Memphis East Carolina. I think you touched on the Memphis Houston game last time, and now East Carolina is a 5.5-point favorite here at home, but neither team has really been great lately. So what are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I went to church and prayed after that Houston game because, that was a miracle win. But sometimes you have to be lucky to win. When you look at it here, the line with Memphis is 4-2. East Carolina's at 3-3. I'm not, East Carolina, I'm not sure what to think of them. They played, at Tulane. They lost the game 24-9. Then they won at South Florida. Ironically, they lost to Navy, who's playing today. Lost to Navy. Memphis could score, okay? I lean towards Memphis. Memphis, like I said, lost to Houston 33-32, but they controlled that game. They should have won the game, and I'm not complaining because that Houston plus the 1.5 because the line was 3. I think it's going to be a very close game, and from what I see with Memphis, they could score, and East Carolina's going to have to put a lot of points on the board in this game. The totals are 59, but if I'm playing this game here right now, the current line it opened up at 3.5 Amadeus. It's up to 5.5. I think you get some value, with two evenly matched teams. I give the offense edge maybe to Memphis a little bit. So I'm taking 5.5 and 6 with this game.
All right, that's good. That's the way I was leaning towards it too with the Memphis. And I guess my other one, I was curious. You touched on this team last week. You called the big upset over Utah with UCLA at home. Now USC comes into Utah. What are your thoughts on that one? Utah's a 3.5.
Yeah. That's another good game. I mean, we're not sure what to think. I know Sean's big on Lincoln Riley. I'm just not sure. I'm not sold. They're going to have to convince me. And even a win here in Salt Lake City may not be enough to convince me here. But I think that the Utes are going to give USC all they can handle here. USC's played a very soft schedule, and Utah, give them credit. They already played at Florida. They lost that game right at the final seconds, and the same thing happened when they it didn't happen last week. They got blown out, but I like the overnight game as well. But here we have a scenario here where USC is an underdog, and we haven't seen them as an underdog this year. They're 6-0. Utah is 4-2. As I mentioned, their 2 losses have come. I prefer to take a look at the total here. I mean, these games go over. I mean, last week, UCLA final score was 42-32, and USC can score, and they got a good quarterback, and so did Utah with Cam Rising. So USC, I think that they're going to have their hands full here, but I give them a real good shot because they're an underdog. I think this game's going to be decided late. It's 3.5. I'm surprised that Utah's the favorite. I know they're playing in Salt Lake, but USC's coming off that win over Washington State. I'd rather take a look at the total of this game here and play over and expect another high-scoring affair because Utah seems to go over in almost every game this year. The total's a 65. It's a little high. I lean towards the over, and I do give USC a shot to cover here, 3.5. It could be decided by a field goal. I think this game's going to be a tight game.
EJ checked in, says he likes NC State plus 3.5. He likes the over in the Clemson game, SMU and Utah here. But I know we talked to Clemson, Florida State. It's an interesting game. Florida State's been really close to being unbeaten. They're 2 tough losses, but they've also won a couple games at the buzzer as well. The over, he's got it at 49. And some books it's up to 50, 51 here. What do you think about this Clemson-Florida State game?
Yeah, when you look at it, Clemson and Florida State, I mean, they met last year. Clemson won the game 30-20, and then the year before that, Clemson won 45-14. Clemson has a really good defense, and they're starting to fall into form here. And Clemson has a legitimate shot to be playing in the playoff game for the national championship. Dabo Swinney finally got his team playing well. Florida State, hey, I had them last week, and they fell apart. They were up 17-3, and they lost the game 19-17, but they got the cover. That's all I care about. I'm not too worried about the wins and losses. Florida State lost the game 19-17. They lost at home to Wake Forest the week before that as well. I normally don't like laying points on a road, but I do think Clemson is a better team. I'd like to take buy the half point down and take Clemson -3. I'm not sure that Florida State can recover after 2 straight losses, and Clemson's been peaking at the right time right now. They're 6-0, and they've dominated this series here. So the line's 3.5. Those of you that are listening, you can buy it down the half point. You put up a little bit more juice, but you protect yourself in the event that Clemson wins by only a field goal. But I think Clemson's the better team, and I think they'll win in Tallahassee tomorrow.
EJ, make sure you go follow Joe Wiz on Twitter, Joe Wiz Sports, and Instagram, because he gives away free picks, and you can go to the website and sign up for his new newsletter here. That also has some free picks, and he's got the NFL games on Sunday. And Joe, I'm hearing that North Jersey, where you live, is the capital of the NFL right now with the Giants and Jets. What's going on in North Jersey now?
Well, it's going on all over the NFL. The NFC East is all of a sudden the best division in all of NFL. We got the great game on Sunday night with the Dallas Cowboys. They'll be taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Dallas has dominated the Eagles the last 3 times they've met, though. They've crushed them. Eagles, I'm not sold on them yet. But as far as here in the New York metropolitan area, yeah, we have 2 good teams here. The Jets coming off that impressive win, last week against Miami. The Jets are going to have their hands full this week, though. They're playing against an angry Aaron Rodgers going up to Lambeau. I mean, Green Bay losing that game in London. And you got to give the credit to the Giants. The Giants have been playing well. All they do is win. Their only losses come to Dallas, and all of a sudden, that loss doesn't look that bad considering how Dallas's defense is one of the top defenses in all of the NFL here. I do give the Giants a shot. I don't think the Jets will be able to hang with the Packers, but I do think that the Giants, with Lamar Jackson coming to town, I talked about it on the show with you, Sean. Martindale, the former defensive coordinator for Baltimore, is now the defensive coordinator for the Giants. So if there's anybody who knows how to come up with a game plan to stop Lamar, it would be him. And I think the Giants, with Daniel Jones, you get a little bit healthier now. And the Giants have been doing well. So I think the Giants at home as a live dog is worth some consideration. The Jet game, I'd rather take a shot to total over in that game. They've been going over the total a lot.
Amedeus, you got any football, NFL games you're kind of focused in on here?
Yeah, I got some NFL questions for Joe, but they're not really about specific games, just kind of like some unconventional questions. I want to know Joe's thoughts on who should the New England Patriots starting quarterback be going forward if both are healthy.
I think you have to stay. You got to give Mac Jones a chance. He played really well last year, and it's almost like a similar scenario like in Dallas with Dak Prescott. Obviously, Dak's a little bit of a different situation because he's gotten paid $1 trillion. But right now the Patriots have a lot invested. But you just never know because this other quarterback here is really good. He played for Western Kentucky. But right now the Patriots, what are they getting 2.5 right now? They're getting 2.5, and the line in that game is at 43.5. But I think that the Patriots are going to stick with Mac once he gets healthy. He proved he could win. He did it last year, right? And this year they had some problems. They played the Dolphins. They lost that game there. They lost to Pittsburgh, and then he got hurt. And then Baltimore, and again, I think he got hurt with the Baltimore Raven game. He got hurt actually. But to answer your question, Amadeus, I think that he's going to stick with Mac until he hasn't really given him a chance. For one full season he played really well last year.
Yeah, no, I noticed that Belichick, he has a problem trusting players, and he seemed to let Zappy throw the ball a little more. I don't know if that speaks if Belichick likes the way Zappy throws a little more, but something about these Western Kentucky quarterbacks, because when you play in a system where you throw the ball 50 times a game, you're bound to get better. So I just find it interesting. We saw the same thing last year with another Western Kentucky quarterback, Mike White, when he came in and lit it up for a game against the Bengals. So I was just interested to see what you thought moving forward, maybe who was the better quarterback, if there could be an ongoing battle here for the job in the future. But yeah, I was just interested to hear your opinion.
No, it's a really good question, because Zappy, like I said, whenever college players come from a certain program, and Western Kentucky, all they do is throw the ball. And in the NFL, Belichick is used to winning with his defense. But let's face it, the NFL has changed in the last 10 years, and especially the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, you can't even touch the quarterback now. I mean, the NFL is all geared towards scoring points and protecting the quarterback. We've seen it, all the controversial plays with Brady Monday night. We saw the controversial. You touch the quarterback, and you're going to get called on a penalty here. So, Zappy, who knows, but right now, I think if Mac gets healthy, I think they'll stay with him. But I think he has 2 good, talented quarterbacks here, because I think Zappy does have a future in the NFL.
What about Amedeus's? Amedeus's team is Arizona. They gave the Eagles all they could handle last week. They're playing at Seattle this week, -2.5 for Arizona. That game, the over is 50.5. You think the Cardinals kind of take momentum from that game last week?
Well, I had Arizona plus the 5 in that game, and I'm glad it didn't go into overtime, Amadeus. I know you were probably just rooting for as a fan, maybe rooting for Arizona, but I didn't want to go to overtime. I was happy that Arizona lost by 3. I was taking 5, and I was like, please don't go to overtime, because strange things happen in overtime. Now that both teams getting a possession, it could easily be where one team, wins by 6 or 7, and then I'm screwed with it. But, Seattle last year, when they played the Cardinals, it was 38-30 the score. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, Seattle is not that bad of a team. I don't really trust Arizona on the road. I know they're a better road team, Arizona is, than they are at home, even though they gave the Eagles all they could handle. But I think Pete Carroll with Seattle, they are scoring a lot of points. The last 3 games have all gone over. At New Orleans, 39-32. They lost. At Detroit, they won 48-45. And against Atlanta, they're 27-23. So I might be more inclined to play the over in this game more than actually playing the game here. But I do not trust Arizona. If Arizona is getting points on the road, I would be a different story. But the total here is rather high to 50, but I'd rather take a shot with the total over. And if you really forced me on the play, I would take the home dog with Seattle plus the 3.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed just as a Cardinals fan over the years is that the Cardinals always win in Seattle, and Seattle always wins in Arizona.
Yeah, and when you take a look at it, Arizona last year was a great road team here, and I just don't know what the deal was with Arizona. Last year they went to the playoffs and they played such a flat game against the Rams, and then this year you don't know what you're getting with them. So I hope that the opening week they got blown out by Kansas City, but then they got that miracle win at the Raiders, and then they won at Carolina, and like I said, they have a history, more or less, even playing better on the road. So we're going to talk about those and a lot of the other games as well on the Fun Line on ESPN. Those of you that are listening can download the app 98.7, and you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter to get free winners 7 days a week. Joe with Sports. I'm excited, really excited. Weekend here in New York. The Yankees are going to be starting here in about an hour. We got the Phillies down in your neck of the woods, Sean, and of course the Dodgers are on the ropes now, 1-1. Baseball is very exciting right now. We got all the real football over in Europe. I'm really looking forward to that Real Madrid-Barcelona game on Sunday. And here we're excited for the Red Bulls and NYCFC playing on Monday night. So a lot of action happening. It's a great time to be a sports fan.
All right, thanks, Joe. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on. And
All right, guys. Good luck with everything.
make sure everybody follow him and go get that stuff. And we'll see you next week, Joe. Thanks a lot.
You got it.
Yeah,
Thanks very much. Have a great weekend. All right.
Have a good one.
Hey, what's up, Lex? Just missed Joe. Hey, make sure you follow Joe Wiz. Go follow him and everything like that. I know we're going to talk about the line on the Bills game. The Bills are now -3 in that game against the Chiefs. I don't, what's his name? Patrick Mahomes is 9-0 as a home dog, or it might just be 9-0 as an underdog in his career here. So it's interesting. They're playing these games. All right. Well, hey, Lex, thanks for checking in. But listen, that's Joe. We will be back on Monday. We'll talk about there's a lot of Premier League games next week. There's no Champions League, no Europa League, but there's Premier League and all that other stuff. So, Lex Steele, follow Joe Wiz. All right, Lex, make sure you're getting that free picks and all that stuff. The sheets, but we'll be back next week, and we will have all kinds of stuff for you next week. So make sure you tune in. And now look at this. I can't do this. Close this bar. There you go. Got all these things on here, man. These what are the extensions? And like you can't close the broadcast. It just drives me nuts. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.